Hey, church family, thank you so much for joining us today for our daily devotional as we're kind of kicking off this series on how to deal with messy relationships. And this week, we're going to be looking at the characteristic of love. Yesterday, Brother Brent in our Connect Group video walked through John 15 and kind of introducing that idea of love. And today, we're going to start in 1 John chapter 4, and we're going to be continuing that idea of love and how it has an effect in all of our relationships. So starting in 1 John chapter 4 in verse 12, we read, "No one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God remains in us, and his love is made complete in us." So that first phrase, no one has ever seen God, this is a reflection of what's written in John 1:18, where he also says that no one has ever seen God. See, God is in spirit, right? He's not a human form. Although he manifested himself in different ways throughout Scripture, a pillar of fire, right? A cloud. He showed himself in light. He's even shown himself in a human form. God himself is not in a human form. Also in John 1:18, we're taught that Jesus, through how he lived, how he loved, he allowed us to see God, right? He allowed us to see who God was and these different characteristics of God. But still, people did not physically see God in human form. They could see who God was through Jesus. But how does that work for us today? I mean, today, Jesus is not here in human form to show us these characteristics of God. We don't see him in a pillar of fire or in a cloud or in a light. So how can we see God? How is he seen today? And so the answer to that question is right there in the second part of verse 12. He says, if we love one another, God remains in us and his love is made complete in us. People see God when his children reflect his character by expressing genuine love to one another. We see God, we see his character when we love others the way that Christ has called us to love others. This is how we can see God and see who he is. Christ dwells in us and reveals himself through us when we treat others as he would. And so this is why it's so important in our relationships that we show love, not just because we want to have those good relationships, but because that's what Christ has called us to do. And by showing that love, we can see God. So a couple of questions that I want you and your family to work through as you're finishing up this devotional. In your own words, how do people see God? So I know we answered that question. I gave you an answer there, but in your own words, how do people see God? Maybe give some examples of that. And then also, how have you seen God through the actions of someone else? Hey, church family, thank you so much for joining us today for our daily devotional. I hope that you will stay with us throughout this week as we explore 1 John chapter 4 and how we can allow love to have effect in our relationships. More than anything, church family, we want you to know that we're praying for you and we love you. Thank you.